And right now, we're very privileged to have two of Battle Creek's finest, the head honchos of the Sheriff's Department and Battle Creek Police Department, respectively. Sheriff Matt Saxton, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Chief Jim Blocker, good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Nice to see you again. Nico had a news story this morning. We got a press release from Commissioner Lynn Ward Gray that, basically the title of it kind of says it all. I need a witness, or we need a witness. That's kind of an age-old struggle, I think, but we've seen that a few times in our news coverage lately where victim was taken to Bronson Battle Creek, treated for gunshot wounds, and would not cooperate with police, had nothing to say.
Right. Well, first, I want to just say a big thank you to Commissioner Lynn Ward Gray for really pushing this effort. Matter of fact, just the title, Can I Get a Witness? It's clever, it's catchy, and she came up with it, and of course, we all loved it.
And it's not the first time either. We've done this before.
No, it isn't. It's a new twist on an old idea, and that is simply that our criminal justice system requires witnesses. It requires facts and validated information to come into that courtroom. And we don't operate off of hearsay. It's not the victim advocacy system. It's the criminal justice system. So the threshold of proving crime is challenging and daunting at times. So this whole effort is a little bit about the numbers, but more importantly, it's about educating the community about really who holds the power to sway the halls of justice when it comes to these types of violent activities.
Sure. If we just continue to look the other way, things are not going to get better, even though sometimes it's hard to stand up and accuse somebody or give information to police.
That's right. And again, oftentimes, we don't just have suspects that are out unwilling to talk to us, but we also have victims oftentimes. They don't want to talk either. And I think mostly because they believe we can handle this ourselves, but that's the point. As a civil society, we want to jump in. We insist that we jump in and support that effort as it makes its way appropriately into the criminal justice system.
Sounds like there could be a lot of reasons why people wouldn't want to speak up. Obviously, fear that a criminal is going to harm them. They may themselves be criminals and might not want to have people pointing a finger at them for something. Just many reasons. What is it normally? Is it mostly fear, or is it mostly people who, I'll deal with this myself, and when nobody's looking?
Yeah, I think there's multiple variables as to why. And I think you just said it. It's a little bit of both. But again, this effort is about reminding the community, reminding the families, reminding the loved ones that, listen, you do have a say and you do have input. And if we could sway the halls of justice in support of a civil and orderly society, then we certainly have the power to do that through the community.
So several pastors in the area have volunteered their buildings and their meeting places for some of these meetings, the first of which will be a week from Thursday, the 19th.
That's right.
6 to 8, New Level Sports Ministries, 400 Michigan Avenue.
That's right.
And then Friday, the 20th, the next day, 1 to 3 in the afternoon at Freedom Faith Worship Center and 485 Capitol Southwest. And then Tuesday morning, the last day of the month, Second Missionary Baptist, 485 North Washington. And, like I mentioned, this isn't the first time. I think Commissioner Gray started similar dialogue a couple of years ago.
That's right. You know, the pastors in our community, they've always welcomed us and this kind of work with open arms and warmly been received. And again, we really appreciate the work and the effort and the coordination that have gone into these meetings.
Yep. We sent a delegation over out to Colorado for to try and compete to become an All-America city, and we did really well. Part of that presentation, I know, involved law enforcement. You sent a representative.
That's right, Officer Tom Rivera.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine, they talked about, we've discussed this before, the Burn Criminal Justice Innovation Program grants, and I know that was kind of one of the major components of our presentation. But for those who aren't sure, what is this and what's the status? What are we doing with these grants right now?
So we have a great team, our community services team, Sergeant Rabbit, Kelly Dillman, who's really the lead Officer Tom Rivera, and 3 other officers. All of them are assigned to specific NPCs within the neighborhoods. NPCs, Neighborhood Planning Councils 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what it does is an officer is assigned to those specific areas, and they really break down specific areas. I mean corner by corner, and focus on neighborhood-generated and identified problems. And it's really afforded us the opportunity to focus on particular micro hotspots, if you will, within the broader context of these larger NPC areas. And it's been productive. It's a lot of work, and it's been rewarding.
Yeah. How many of those hot spots would you say we have in the Battle Creek community, just areas of focus and concern because of crime?
Well, specific to this particular work, we have 7 micro hotspots that they are working within those 4 NPCs. But then you can broaden that out, of course. We break things down by districts and then grids, and there's multiple grids, I believe as many as 30 grids within all 4 areas. But really our specific focus is on just 7 of those areas.
And these Byrne Criminal Justice Innovation Program grants, is this an ongoing thing, a one-time thing? What is the funding there for, and how long?
The funding is tough to get. We are one of 11 communities that receive this U.S. Department of Justice grant. And what it has done is it afforded us the opportunity to really deep dive into the community and some of the root causes and some of the factors causing some of the challenges, of which not all are criminal.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, drugs figure right in the center of a lot of that.
Well, drugs, poverty, so many different things, infrastructure, all of those things are part of this review.
We've had a few larcenies lately, and a couple of kind of high-profile stories, like the guy who ripped off the car dealer, and a couple of guys have been arrested now, and drugs, I guess, has been mentioned as a possible cause, allegedly. What are you seeing, Matt?
Well, as we've talked before, Tim, oftentimes 95% of our property crimes are connected to drugs in one way, shape, or form, whether those subjects are out stealing items to sell quickly to be able to buy drugs, or in the case of this theft at Sunshine Toyota, where the subject stole a vehicle, went immediately and traded it for crack cocaine. We put a BOL out for the vehicle. A city officer located that vehicle on I-94 about 3 hours after it was stolen. We were able to take that subject into custody, who was the crack dealer. The drug dealer traded his crack cocaine with this subject that stole it. Both subjects are now in jail, both connected to drugs in one way or form.
Sometimes with these news stories and stuff, we see so much stupid that it's all of a sudden easy to see the desperation of some of these people.
It is really unfortunate, and a lot of it goes back to education. 80% of the folks in the jail today don't have a high school education. So we need to catch folks at a younger age, make sure they're staying in school, and able to join the workforce when they're done with high school, or go on to college, or be a benefit to our community as opposed to a drain with the drug or alcohol addictions.
And, they have a pretty good opportunity right now, because a lot of employers in our area are looking for people to fill jobs. And I would say probably in that respect, if you want a job, you can get a job probably more easily and readily than any time in recent memory right now. But, who wants to hire somebody who's got a felony or 3?
Well, and that's just it. A lot of our local employers are hiring those folks, and a lot of them turn out to be good workers. It's just that opportunity to get that job. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about employment, law enforcement corrections is a great job, a great opportunity for a young person to go look for a career. Both the city of Battle Creek, us at the sheriff's office, state police, city of Marshall, city of Albion, Emmett Township, all the police agencies in this county are hiring. We can't find enough good men and women that want to do those jobs.
Yeah, that's a challenge. I think we had a job fair a year or so ago, and there was a Wayne County Sheriff's deputy there. I don't know, they had hundreds of openings that they were trying to fill. Where are you satisfied with your staffing right now? Obviously, probably not if you're looking for people, but where would you describe that? Where are you at as far as your desired staffing?
We're currently 5 positions down.
Okay.
And we continue to run at probably 3 to 4 positions down as we go, specifically in the jail. We just filled the last position on the road. So we have 5 positions we need to fill within the jail.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Chief, as far as staffing? If you could wave a magic wand, how many people would you bring on?
Well, I mean, that's really 2 different questions.
Yeah, I want to answer that one.
Yeah. Because, we could always use more.
Sure.
But we also have to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves, what can we afford as a community?
Yeah.
But we have wonderful staff. Our employees, it's amazing what they do. Our reputation rides on the great work that they do, county, local, city. And just yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak to our second shift start, and I was reminded of that, listening to their work and the professionalism that they exhibit every single day. In terms of our staffing, we're doing pretty well. Currently, we have no vacancies, but we are planning, though, as we look forward into the future, we recognize that we're going to have a significant number of vacancies through retirements. And because of that, we are always leaning into pulling applicants and trying to maintain a ready list. Our Explorer program and our Cadet program have been excellent feeder programs, and we have already started to hire people through those programs, which has been a great success and, frankly, a lot of fun to see how we've developed a local homegrown employees and brought them into the department.
For some young person who's thinking about making a career in law enforcement, what are they looking at in terms of retirement? How does that work? When could they retire, and what sort of benefits?
We still retain a 25 years and out retirement system. You don't have to, of course, but most do. So a young person can come in right out of high school, hopefully with at least an associate's or at least a 4-year degree, which they can attain while they work for the department. And we encourage them to do so. And then 25 years later, they could be walking out the door.
Yeah, before they're even 50.
But I tell you, in that 25 years, that's a hard 25 years.
It is. Yeah, you have to be prepared for that. And but think about it. A lot of guys can then retire, and some maybe will buy a little small business or get some sort of a job that's a lot less stressful and
that's right.
Part-time. And yeah.
I'm not familiar with many that just simply retire. Most just go on. Some have gone on to become nurses. Some have gone on to become attorneys. Some have gone on to work part-time jobs, full-time jobs. And I think we have quite a few that have gone on to work for Calhoun County.
Yeah, or politicians. Lansing.
That is true.
We've had a few of those, too. Chief Blocker, Sheriff Saxton with us. Was it last week? There was a motorcycle fatality over on Main Street. And I guess going too fast, no helmet, hit a curb, tossed from the bike, died, unfortunately. But there was a couple of camera crews on each street corner, and they were not media, and quite a few officers investigating. I mean, anytime there's a death, you guys have to really look under every rock, don't you?
Well, we do. We take the fatalities seriously, and we're going to investigate. We're going to try to determine the cause. Just unfortunately, this was pretty cut and dry. And, speed was a factor. And again, if there's no helmet, no safety to mitigate a fall, then, yeah, sometimes the results are devastating.
Yeah. But, boy, they were meticulous about, getting different angles and measuring stuff and looking it over. I guess you have to do that with every single fatality.
That's right.
Because you don't know. I mean, somebody could have shot the guy or, thrown a rock at him or something and distracted him. I mean, you don't know until you really investigate it.
Well, that's right. And in this particular case, we did investigate it. And, of course, we just found that speed was the factor.
Mm-hmm. I see. All right. Matt, I wanted to ask you, too, briefly about the jail. We built this thing a while back now. And well, the idea was, create enough space so that we could get income from other municipalities who had an overflow problem, needed to put people in jail. How's that working these days? I mean, are we near capacity? Is it helping our county budget?
Well, Tim, you're exactly right. This last week, we started our 25th year of operations in the county jail. So
man.
It's not quite new anymore.
No.
But you'd be hard-pressed to walk into a county jail anywhere in the country that's 25 years old and have it still look like it does today. We are around 600 inmates in there today. About 290 of them are boarded inmates, which means other municipalities or the federal government are paying for those beds. It essentially cuts in half the cost of operating the county jail to the citizens of Calhoun County.
So that plan seems to be working pretty well.
It has.
And got a brand new building darn near finished for the city police department. I'm wondering, is there like a secret tunnel from the chief's office over there to the sheriff's office at the jail or what?
Well, of course there is.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be?
Well, I was thinking about that as I drove past the other day, though. You have to transfer suspects and prisoners from the department over to the jail quite often. Is that just done down the sidewalk, or is there a secret tunnel?
No, there really isn't. Everything we do is above ground, thank goodness.
Yeah.
And no, it's all done right there at the Calhoun County Justice Complex.
How's the building coming?
Extraordinarily well. Looking forward to be in it within the next 30, 35, 40 days.
Well, we can't wait to get the tour. Will the community be invited to a tour?
They certainly will. We're looking forward to it.
Well, keep us posted on that because that's going to be a great day. You guys have needed a building for a long, long time, and it's nice that that's coming.
We're excited, but most importantly, we're grateful. We appreciate it.
Will the old building be torn down and converted to parking?
That's right. Be torn down. It will be converted to parking and some more green space, and it'll look really nice. We're looking forward to it.
Great. Chief Blocker, Sheriff Saxton, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Tim.